Welcome back to Books with Duddy. Today we are going to discuss the book All the Lies by Nicola Sanders. There will be spoilers in this discussion. If you're looking to avoid spoilers and are just looking for a review of the book as you're still trying to decide if you want to read it, check out the linked video. So with that, we are going to move into spoilers. So if you have not read the book and you want to, or you want to avoid spoilers or whatever, please stop here because I am going to kind of talk about some of the spoilers. Okay, so the first thing that I want to go over, and I definitely touched on it in the non-spoiler section, but just how evil and mean Jason was. That really impacted me at the beginning of the book and at the end, but I felt like the beginning, it was very, I don't know, it just felt very real. It felt very grounded. Like, you know, it wasn't over the top. He was just, I say just, but like just a controlling psychopath, which, you know, there's plenty. Well, hopefully not plenty, but there's definitely those around, and, you know, women and men who are living like that. So yeah, I thought the beginning of the book was really, really well written. And then just, I guess, starting to go onto the boat, instantly I was suspicious of Barbara. I didn't know what, but it was just, again, it was just one of those things where she was so great. You know, she approached Amy, and, you know, they hit it off so well, and that happens, but just with how controlling Jason was, there was no way that she was actually on that ship by herself, with nobody watching her. Now, with Barbara, I definitely did not expect her to become Jason's fiance down the road. That threw me for a loop when she showed up and, you know, said she was Jason's fiance, and they had that whole ordeal. That was surprising to me, and especially the way that she treated Amy, you know, when she came back, was surprising, even though she was hired by Jason. I've never been in that situation, or at least know anybody who's told me that's been in that situation, how frustrating it must be that nobody will believe you. Like, Amy's trying to tell Barbara, you know, how bad Jason is, and she's telling Amy she's crazy, and Amy's mom's being a complete bitch about it. I can only imagine how frustrating that can be. But I guess backing up, getting into town, and, you know, Amy going to meet Ruth and what's her sister's name now? Why can't I remember her sister's name? I can't remember the sister's name for some reason. Well, Ruth's, not her sister's, but Ruth's, you know, other daughter's name. So right away, Scott was throwing off alarm bells, considering how, you know, his wife was very distrustful, and, you know, with the inheritance thing coming up, it was like, you know, why is Scott not kind of thinking that along with his wife? Because I think that would be a pretty normal reaction to have to somebody, like, all of a sudden coming out of the woodwork just when their estranged or mother they've never met, you know, gets an inheritance. So Scott was being weird from the very beginning. I didn't know how to the depths that he was going to go, but definitely threw off alarm bells right away. One thing that, I don't want to say it bothered me, but it was just like, yeah, I don't know what the right word is, but one thing that was kind of a reoccurring to me the whole time was, and I know Amy was kind of wrestling with it, when to come out and tell Ruth and all of that, but it was just like, why do you keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting? And again, I've never been in a situation where she's scared of, Jason, but at the same time, it was like, what do you expect to happen here in the future? With Fabrizio and Ruth and all of these people. And I thought it was especially weird when she moved out of Ruth's house and into this apartment. If she was only supposed to come there and stay for like a little bit, didn't that like raise alarm bells for anybody? Why is this girl now? She's not even staying with her mom anymore. She like moved out, and I just thought that was kind of a weird situation. But again, it wasn't like the book didn't address Amy's inner conflict of, coming out and saying something and not, but felt like it went on a little bit. She obviously let it go on way longer than it should have. So I like Ruth and her other daughter's characters a lot, especially because Ruth, even though Amy really wasn't doing some of the things that Scott was trying to portray, she was really not letting Amy kind of walk all over her if she was doing those things. In Ruth's mind, she was hitting on Scott, and Ruth wasn't just so excited to see her estranged daughter that she pretended like that wasn't happening, even though it wasn't. So I really like that about those characters. Now, to get to the ending, obviously I talked a little bit about Barbara showing up, and that threw me for a loop, definitely, that she ended up becoming Jason's fiance. So with how the whole thing with Jason ended, again, I've never been in this situation or been around people like that I know of, but it's hard for me to reconcile how Jason would be so perfect to everybody on the outside the whole time, and to everybody around him and whatnot, and then take the risk of basically becoming a murderer, trying to murder Fabrizio. I just, and I could be wrong, but it just seemed out of character for him. He was a psycho, but he was very good at controlling that, in a sense, because he only let pretty much Amy see it. I don't know. I might get pushback on that. I could be totally wrong. But and then how it ended, and Amy going to Liz's wake, and Ruth inviting her over, and I wish I could remember the other daughter's name. It's driving me nuts. But all of a sudden, the other daughter is like super friendly to Amy. I mean, I guess she knows she's not after the inheritance anymore, but still, like, that just felt very neat. Just not how a story like this would end. Not saying I wanted anything bad to happen to Amy or anything like that, but kind of being invited over after the wake for the woman that she just impersonated, and it's like everybody's kind of gung-ho to see her, especially because it wasn't like Amy had come across as like some perfect angel when she was being Liz, because people had made her look bad. She didn't necessarily do anything super bad other than the impersonation, but it just felt I don't know, just felt really way too neat of an ending for the type of book that it was. I don't want to say the type of book that it was, just the story that was told. That was just a very, very neat ending. But I think I've went on long enough. I'm definitely interested to hear all your thoughts on this. It was an interesting book. It definitely kept me wondering what was going to happen next, even if it became a little predictable. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I'll definitely be back with some more, and I will see you all soon.